It was as mindless as it was tragic. In Sydney last week, a 16-year-old boy was shot and killed while waiting for his school bus. Shot by other teenagers, shot it seems for absolutely no reason. Another victim, another random act of violence. In towns and cities across Australia, it's becoming all too accepted. The chances that your child will be assaulted, or worse, have dramatically increased in recent years. The beatings, the bashings are so commonplace that many teenagers don't even report them to the police. Overwhelmingly, the victims and the offenders are young males. Life for many teenagers, especially teenage boys, can resemble a war zone. If you're a teenager, then your chances of being a victim of violence are higher than any other age group. Teenage victims, teenage attackers.
There wasn't even any words exchanged or anything. It was just, before I knew it, we were getting hit and punches flying.
James is 17 years old, from a middle-class family, bashed in a middle-class Sydney suburb.
I got a long neck bottle that was cracked across the back of my head. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground and just kicks coming from every direction. Both my front teeth were broken off. I had where the bottle was broken on my head. I got 5 stitches there. Actually, my ribs very badly bruised because I've been jumped up and down on.
If you're by yourself, you're small, you're minding your own business, they're going to go for you.
Simon is another teenage victim, another random attack.
Well, I was basically sitting at a bus stop, minding my own business after a night out with my mates, partying, and I was sitting there practically asleep. It was early in the morning, my head in my hands, and then I just started receiving blows to the head. And there was 2 of them. I looked up, 2 of them standing right there, just knocking me around, yelling.
It's just after 8 o'clock in Sydney, and this bus is on its way to the city. Just a few weeks ago, a driver was attacked with a beer bottle after stopping to pick up a group of teenagers. Violence has become so commonplace on this route that now the bus at night travels with a full-time security guard, a camera, and just to make sure, it's being followed by a security car. The figures show that for every hour of every day, 15 people are assaulted in Australia, and overwhelmingly, the victims and the offenders are young males.
It's a rising tidal wave. It's a problem that's unrecognised, but it's a real problem. It's here now.
Criminologist Paul Wilson is worried. He says there's a new culture of violence among teenage males.
It's a great pity if, in fact, we've got a society where a section of our young people actually believe that this is the way to get ahead in life. This is the way to, if you like, mark yourself from your peers as being an important and a masculine person. We've got a problem.
What will we do to become famous and dandy? Just like Amos and Andy.
The figures just represent the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of reasons why people won't report teenage violence. They are afraid of retaliation. They don't think the police can do anything. And a lot of the violence isn't necessarily physical violence, it's intimidating, hostile behaviour on the streets, in nightclubs and in other public places.
Scott's story is becoming typical of a night out for many teenagers.
I was at a party, got bailed up by about 6 or 7 guys in the backyard. They rolled me for my money. There's no way I wasn't going to give it to them. The party finished, and then out in the street later they bailed me up again, cracked me in the head a few times, and yeah, then I just got the hell out of there as quick as I could.
You called the police?
No.
Why not?
I didn't want the retribution. If I dragged the police in and nothing became of it, which seems to happen a fair bit, I was scared about getting beaten up again.
It's bad enough that mindless violence can lead to black eyes and broken teeth, but it doesn't stop there. These days, those heated words, that violent argument, that push and shove can lead to murder. The killing of Jeff Barrett would have to be one of the more senseless cases of random violence. He was a friendly 17-year-old with the world ahead of him. When he set out for a supervised alcohol-free dance party, Jeff's parents thought he couldn't possibly be in any danger.
He told me he was going to this dance party, and he had a choice of 2 dance parties he was going to, and I didn't hear anything until his best friend rang me up and said there'd been an accident. And when I go down to Westmead, and my neighbour took me down there, and when I got there, he was dead.
It just went all wrong at the end of the night. It was like 10 minutes to go before the dance party ended.
Darius was Jeff's best friend. He recalls how the attack came from nowhere.
Suddenly all I noticed was some guy just ran straight into me. I got barged out the way, and as I was going down, I saw another guy come up to Jeff and just smack him like that. And I thought he'd punched him. I'm just like, what the hell? And they just ran. And I went straight over Jeff, and he was still buckled over. I grabbed him, put my hand on his back, walked him off to the side of the dance floor, was just telling the bouncer what had happened, and then suddenly Jeff dropped. When he fell over, there was blood pouring from him, and that's when we both, oh shit, what has happened? And we turned him, and there was just blood.
Jeff had been stabbed just once, the knife piercing his heart. He died within minutes of the attack.
All I remember is that it was just so quick, and I still to this day don't know why they did it.
Jeffrey Barrett's murderer was just 17. He's never offered an explanation for the stabbing, nor has he shown remorse. The Barrett family remains bitter, angry, heartbroken.
Even after all these years, I still can't look them in the eye. They look like they haven't slept for all those years, but you can see it in their eyes that it hasn't been finished.
Jeff's killer could be released from jail in 2 years after serving just 9 years for murder, most of that in a juvenile detention centre. A suburban bus stop at the end of a school day, a place you'd expect to be busy, even happy, and certainly safe. But just over a week ago, it wasn't a safe place to be for one 16-year-old. Surrounded by teenagers, 3 shots were fired. He collapsed and died soon after from massive blood loss. It seems that if you're young, catching a bus or riding a train can be a very dangerous journey. At this Western Sydney train station, we met Sally Abo, just 16 years old, and already he's done time for armed robbery and assault. He's not proud of it, but until now, violence was all he knew. What would you do?
I just hit him.
How hard?
Real hard. Like, you can't give him a sucker punch, because if you don't knock him out or nothing, he'll probably stand up and, so it's better off just knocking him out. If you hit him once, if you hit him good, and he's still up, if he gives you his wallet, his money in it, then you're all right. Just take the money and go.
Sally now says his violent life is behind him. At 16, unemployed and the father of a new baby, he's got a difficult road ahead. When you think back, how do you feel about those people, innocent people?
Well, now I feel sorry for them, but back then I wouldn't. Because I was drunk, Alcohol takes over me.
What do you think when you're laying into them?
Money, money, money.
It's interesting because there's a mix of pleasure, of alcohol, of sex, of violence, of almost aimlessness.
Adam Graycar heads the Australian Institute of Criminology. His team has undertaken intensive interviews with young violent offenders to try to find out why they do it. Alcohol was one reason, aimlessness another.
They'll cruise around. One of the kids, for example, said, we go to parties a lot. They like, they look at all the girls. And one of them said, look, if you can't get a root, you'll start a fight. And I thought, that's really interesting because, it's very transitory, it's very temporary, and there has to be some instant gratification. And the way in which that gratification is expressed, was just so transient and so temporary, but so violent as well.
Is violence part of your life? You a violent person?
Violent person and people are violent with me, yeah.
We met Jono at a Sydney drop-in centre. At 17, he has convictions for assault and has already spent time in juvenile detention. He's a young man with attitude. And what sort of things do you do?
Just whatever. Whatever I have to do. I have bashed people for money. Just ask them for money. If they don't give it, just bash them.
Kick them?
Just use your fist.
You hurt them bad?
Probably. Most probably.
Don't stay around to look.
Just get what I want and go.
How do you feel about doing that to people? I mean, what right do you have to attack me because I say, no, you can't have my money?
I don't have no right. But just do it.
So you acknowledge you have no right to attack me?
Yeah. I have no right to do it, but it just happens.
This is a way of making himself or herself an important person within the peer group. There's no doubt about that at all. Another thing going through his mind is, this is the way I get self-esteem. I feel important. And I think the third thing is, I'm getting a kick out of this. This is adrenaline pumping experience for me. It's as good as sex, it's as good as surfing.
Perhaps even more chilling is the fact that our teenagers have come to accept violence, even expect it.
It happens to everyone. I wasn't overly concerned about it. I think all my injuries were basically superficial, just bruises and stuff and black eye, and I wasn't too concerned about it. It's so widespread that I don't think police would firstly have the time for it or would really care about it that much. I guess it happens all the time for them.
"30 years ago, the movie A Clockwork Orange forecast a future society plagued by mindless teenage violence. Paul Wilson's fear now is that A Clockwork Orange is in danger of becoming reality.
As a criminologist and also as a citizen, it worries me very much because it's a reflection on a sick society, and it's a reflection on, I think, our politicians who are not concerned enough to want to do anything substantial about it.
It's definitely a part of sort of youth culture, I think.
It just haunts me to think that people are out there like that just don't care, want to just hurt someone for the hell of it. Every Monday at school you hear of another story of someone seen someone getting smacked up, or they themselves have been smacked up. You don't want to accept it, but you have to.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au, as well as the 9Now app.